It's the Daily Doug.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. Thanks for being with me today. My friends, this week is an off week for us here at the Daily Doug. We are taking some well-deserved rest, but we are not leaving y'all without content here on the channel. Today, I am bringing you a previously recorded reaction, actually from last September. This is Wood from the band Alice in Chains, and this came about as the result of an extended Play Lounge episode that I recorded on the entire album, Dirt, from this band. It was the first time that I had heard the entire album from front to back. Of course, I had heard a few of the songs on this very influential and important album, but I had not heard all of them, and I think this was the first time that I had heard Wood with an eye and an ear towards analyzing it. I remembered some of the riffs in it and some of the little sounds in it that sparked memories for me from back in the day. But yeah, this was the first time, y'all, that I had heard this, and it really profoundly affected me. So here's what I've got for you. This is the last song on the album. So what I'm going to do is cut in as this song begins, and I'm leaving in my outro, my recap, that was done in real time there as I finished listening to the entire album. And it was very much influenced and informed by this song. So, friends, grab a drink, grab a snack, and pay attention, because we're going to be listening to Wood from Alice in Chains. Off we go. We got one more, friends. It's the song Wood, W-O-U-L-D. We get the bass intro. I think this was the first song written for the album. It's from Jerry, and it's about a guy named Andrew Wood, W-O-O-D, who was the lead singer of the band Mother Love Bone. He died of a heroin overdose in 1990. So, we've been talking about addiction and depression and conflict and relationships the whole time. Now, we're dealing with death. I've heard this. That sticks in my head. Just this part. That part that is a spark of a memory. The rest of it I don't remember. He's such a good singer, y'all. Unbelievable lyrics and voice here. I mean, all of it is wonderful. The whole production, everybody's playing, with real synergy with the rest of the people in the band. Reminds me of some Tool that I've heard. All of Jerry's solos on this album have been just right, like a songwriter's soloist, really just right for what the song is. Then you back off and let Lane do his thing. Major key, dramatic third, and then a half step. They're not done yet, y'all. I gone, left you here alone? If I would. Really? That's how the whole thing ends. That's the last song. That's one way. They're not happy with their friend for treating himself like that and taking himself out. The outro here. Am I wrong? Have I run too far to get home? Have I gone, left you here alone? Am I wrong? Have I run too far to get home? Have I left you here alone? If I would, could you? What does that mean? If I would have been there for you, could you have done it? Could you still have gone through with it? Is that what they're saying? Issues. There's issues there around missing their friend and being scared of mortality. The whole thing is almost like a concept album, y'all. I mean, all of these things, all of these songs are on similar ideas. I don't hear a narrative of a story going through like as a single thread, but the themes are all interconnected from like every single track. It's a remarkable album, and I'm emotionally sort of spent because it's a long time to stay really focused and empathizing actively with such dark material. Yeah. It's a dark album, but I found one reviewer who said you won't find a more brutally truthful work, and that's why it will always be one of the greatest records ever made. Truthful, he says. That I understand. I get the sense that they're telling us exactly what they're thinking and exactly what they're feeling, and they're being as raw as they possibly can be. It's almost like a challenge to be as raw and into it as you possibly can, because maybe that's where they find the line that they need to ride, and it's exhilarating to be right there and on the edge and confronting your emotions like that. Maybe that's where it comes into the play where this is almost cathartic for them, because they get to use the energy that comes from those emotions to help propel those sounds. And one can't exist without the other, and it's feeding it. Whew. Yeah, a great album. All 5 singles from this album broke the top 30 in the charts, and every one of them had accompanying music videos. And this came out, remember, in 1992. It was a banner year for rock and roll, and this style of music, like grunge, alternative rock, whatever you want to call it. And Guitar World magazine in that year regarded this album as the #1 guitar album of that year. That I'm not going to disagree with either. I don't, not that I know all the other albums, but Jerry's playing was really, really smart and accomplished and technical, but emotional and just right, as far as I'm concerned, with what the songs called for. And I think I mentioned this when I reviewed Down in a Hole for YouTube. Rolling Stone lists this album, Dirt, as number 26 on its list of the greatest metal albums. And it's number 6 on its list of greatest grunge albums of all time. It's a historic album, friends, and I don't know if I'm going to be clamoring to hear it again very soon. And I don't know if I'll want to relive the entire thing in one listen again, but these songs are powerful and they sound great. And when I need to come back and emote and deal with some of my depression or some of my anxiety or pain or anger, and I need a vehicle to help me sort of just kind of release the pressure a little bit, I'll remember this album because it's lyrical and melodic enough to let me do that with them. There's some albums that are dealing with some of these same issues that just musically go a little bit too far for where I could deal with them in my own listening. But this one, I believe that I could. So I thank y'all for supporting this and for voting for Alice in Chains. Yeah, all this stuff came out during my high school years. It wasn't music that I grooved with back in my high school days. In fact, I actively avoided it, quite frankly. I just didn't want to be a part of it. But as I'm getting back into things, in these days, I have a newfound appreciation for the art and what these guys were saying and the sounds that they were creating. And I have more of a context to put them in so that I can understand more of the environment and the world in which they were creating their art. Whew. Okay, y'all, I think that's going to be it for today. Episode number 51 of the Extended Play Lounge. This has been Dirt by Alice in Chains. 13 really provocative songs about, depression and pain and anger and relationships and, even to suicide and to death. And it's been a remarkable experience. I am tired. So I believe I'm going to sign off and say thank you for the support, and we'll be back soon with more episodes, but that is all for today, my friends. Thank you for being with me. We will see you next time on another edition of The Daily Doug.